Hello, welcome to our Monday Business News Reports. We now started with our feature on the show today. Now, one of the highlights of the week was the report. Nigeria's external reserves rose by $5.05 billion in October, according to the latest data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, the reserves increased from $36.78 billion on September the 30th to $41.83 billion as of the end of the month of October. Now, the Deputy Governor, Financial Systems Stability Directorate of the CBN, Aishah Ahmad, at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, also stated that external sector trends improved as reflected in the balance of trade position, which narrowed by 52.56% to a deficit of 1.87 trillion naira in the second quarter of this year from 3.94 trillion naira in the first quarter. Now, she says this was also driven by 74.72% rise in exports, which outstripped the increase in imports of 1.45%. Now, she further notes as well that external reserves increased by 7.41% at the end of the month of August from $33.49 billion in July. And according to her, relative stability is also maintained at the importers and exporters foreign exchange window following sustained implementation of policies aimed at boosting liquidity and improving supply to meet legitimate demands for eligible transactions. Joining me now in our Lagos studio to discuss this and much more, I have Adeola Ojo, an economist. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
Good morning.
Now, one of the biggest worries with the external reserves was the fact that we're all cautious about it dropping to that $30 billion benchmark. Now, the market, the foreign reserves base has always fluctuated between the up and downward trend. But so far, from August, September, October, we've seen a steady rise. Do you think we'll continue to see this rise, or it will likely plateau later this month or next month?
Taking into consideration all the elements that contributed to the growth, which maybe in the context of this interview, we will look at them. We'll actually see that most of the things that contributed to the growth has actually been done and they are already settled. So I believe that coming next month, the increase may not be as substantial as what we have seen in October, because most of the things that contributed to it will not repeat itself.
Let's look at those fundamentals.
The first one I say is the Eurobond. Nigeria was able to raise some money from Eurobond boost, and as a result of that, about $4.4 billion or so came in through that platform. Then we also have the one from exports, because as a result of much, like she said, Aishah Ahmad just said, our exports has increased, and we know most of the major contributor is crude oil, and the price of crude oil has actually increased over the period. So we actually saw an increase in inflow into the account. So that's also one of the major issues that actually brought that. Then the third one is the special drawing rights from IMF, about $3.5 billion that also came into that pause. So by the time you look at 4 billion plus 3.5 billion plus some other 674 that came in through crude oil, that was the major contributor. That was why it increased from about 36 billion now to 40 something billion that we're actually seeing. So SDR will not come, IMF will not come and give us another money next time. The Eurobond, I do not think that for the rest of the year we're going to do that all again. $4 billion that came in. So invariably we may just see it coming down a bit, but it may not plateau. It may just be a slight downward slope.
So you think it's going to be a downward trend, not necessarily a plateau? Yes. Maintaining that stable
because
trend.
And the other fourth thing was as a result of the those are the things we have been discussing about, the CBN not financing the bureau de change any longer. So they have been able to save some money that is now available in the foreign. So that one can actually still be there. And as a result of that, we can still see some level of improvement. But the major thing that caused about the boost will not repeat itself, especially for the rest of the year.
Let's look at the part of increase in exports. Now, these are figures which are supporting what we are seeing in the external reserves. But do you think we are still putting a good front in terms of our export base? Take, for example, agriculture. Do you see a difference in the body language of government to show that we are having much more produce being exported? Look at the manufacturing sector. Look at the services sector. Do you see us improving?
Let me just be factual. No.
Okay.
And this has been said over time. We have policies by mouth that we want to increase exportation of goods. We want to bring in foreign, able to generate dollar forex into the economy through exportation of our goods. But as a result, but look at it, all the policies that we have put in place, all the things that are available even at the ports are not helping. To be candid, sir, I have a particular paper from a friend, sometimes a week or so ago. He was talking about the value chain of agriculture, what is available on it, even cassava exportation and co. But you know one thing, sir, they couldn't export this because of the challenges around the port, the whatever, registration, as every other thing. Our manufacturing sector could not export their goods. Why? Because there are so many challenges at the port. Not to talk of the one that has to do with imports. You could see what is happening at Apapa Port, because that's our major export. What is the name? The major avenue channel to export things out of the country. We cannot even access the place. So those policies are not helping. At the airport too, the challenges also are there. Before you get anything out of the country, you must say to somebody, things must just find the expression. They will bill you in a way or two, that something that will not allow you to be able to do
persistent bottlenecks that still make our export base relatively low, and then making
and LCC actually is talking about this. Those are, and also policies from a sort of government. Oh, we will encourage you to go, but tomorrow they will change the policy.
So all of these are threatening the ease of doing business at this point in time. Sure. Let's look at incentives like the Naira for Dollar initiative, talking about diaspora remittances as well. How much of an incentive really do you think this is?
We have spoken about it actually. It actually encouraged people to bring in dollar into the economy.
But the volume? Because the global economy is just recovering. Those in the diaspora are just also readjusting as well, wouldn't you say?
Let me just tell you, sir. The volume of dollar or forex that is available, that in our transaction, is much more than the things we actually report anytime in a day. I'm just sorry, I'm just say it this way, because some other things have been coming from other sources. Some of our people, you know, some of them actually had to visit the EFCC of recent, and they came out with one or two other issues. I'm not alleging any factor, but these are just some of the things that are happening. People, they are utilizing the opportunity, their position, because they have money outside the country. They will get Naira from you here. They will use the dollar to pay whatsoever. That one doesn't go through the channel. And at the end, when your dollar is also going to be brought into the country, they collect the dollar over there, they pay you Naira over here. That doesn't also come through the channel. So, but these things are finding its way into the country. That is one channel. The second channel is through cryptocurrency, and that's why CBN is clamping down on them. So, sir, if all those underground economy and even the overground economy, as the case may be, if they actually come together, you actually see that we're actually performing better than we are performing.
Let's look at the fact that we are likely going to see an end to fuel subsidy by June 2022. Now, one of the impacts, irrespective of the volume of increases we are seeing on the global market, which is also adding to the external reserves, is the fact that we always have to dip just to subsidize petrol. Now, how do you think a stop to this regime would also present a bigger buffer for the external reserves?
Yes. One of the challenges the foreign reserve actually is going through now is that we actually have to pay for many things that we should not pay for, especially from the foreign reserve. And indeed, it is one of the things that is causing reduction or accretion in the volume. So if we're going to stop subsidy by June next year, it's actually going to help the forex reserve actually to grow. But I would want to suggest, sir, that they shouldn't do that until what they are waiting for, Dangote refinery, comes on board. And that one will come on board towards the end of 2022. So they should please wait till that one comes on board before they invest. Because
the proposal for the 2022 budget has provision just for the first 6 months of the year.
It is still being worked on.
Yes.
The Senate, the National Assembly should look at that.
That's why still a proposal.
And within the period, it's also is an election a year preceding the election. So we should also try, because anything we actually do now, if it's going to cause an instability in the economy and an equilibrium in the system, it's going to cause a lot of issue. And you know, in Nigeria, when there are instabilities of this nature, it's most of the time it doesn't come back to the nature the way it is before.
But do you understand that we cannot continue to sustain this fuel subsidy regime?
Yes, it is correct. And I've said, yeah, let us sustain it till Dangote refinery comes on board. What they told us is that we only use 400 million barrels per day as consumption in Nigeria, and Dangote refinery is going to produce more than 400 million barrels per day. The other ones for exportation, and it's coming on board the same year. So wait for 4 more months and help the company to actually come on board. Then you can now remove when they are already on board. Because if you do not do that, the small instability that will actually come up will cause a tilt in the
economic balance,
and it's going to cause some challenges.
Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show this morning, Adiola Ojo. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and then we'll keep our fingers crossed and have this conversation come next month, whether or not we'll see the external reserves plateau or tilt down.
Thank you so much.